Hello, and welcome back to the Cancer Cipher Sharon Speaks podcast. It's another day, and I'm grateful to see another day. I want to welcome you back, and I really appreciate those that have been following me and listening to these podcasts. If you're new and you're here for the first time, I want to thank you for taking time to listen, and I hope that you hear something today that is new for you, that you've learned, and that encourages you. And I pray that you continue to listen to this podcast. I hope you find it interesting, and I hope you find it share worthy. A lot of people have reached out to me and told me that they're sharing this podcast with others who they know who are suffering with cancer. And I'm greatly appreciative for that because that's the whole purpose. I'm not here to promote anything. I'm here just to tell my story, and I'm here to share my own personal experiences. And if that can help someone, then I'm grateful. Then my job is done. So I ask that you please like, share, subscribe, follow, leave me comments, and just let me know, how you're feeling about this podcast and how it has helped you. Even if you don't like it, tell me that. It's not going to hurt my feelings. Trust me, when you have cancer, you develop a thick skin and not many things hurt you. But I don't think anyone would intentionally, try to hurt or say hurtful things. But I respect everyone's opinion. So I want to share some things with you today. The focus of this topic today is going to be this, like how cancer is staged. That was very confusing for me when I initially went to the doctor and my test results started coming in, and I did not understand how they were explaining to me how they were determining what stage my cancer was. So that's very important to know because they're broken down into categories. So I'm going to go through those categories with you just so you have an understanding if you ever find yourself in that position. But before I do that, I want to share some encouragement because I have to be honest. Like, today is not a good day for me. I'm not as encouraged as I normally am. So when I feel this way, I have to encourage myself because there's not anyone, who can encourage yourself better than you can. There's people that can help. But we have to know how to encourage ourselves. We have to be able to lift ourselves up because there's times where we do find ourselves isolated when it comes to cancer. And sometimes you just don't want to talk to anyone because you feel like they're going to be trying to offer you solutions. But it's not about solutions. It's about encouragement. It's about lifting up. It's about just making you feel a little bit more at peace with what you're dealing with. So for me, if it does not bring peace or have a purpose, I don't give it my time or my energy because as of right now, my time and my energy are both limited. So I'm selective on how I encourage myself. And I do pray a lot. I pray at different times of the day. Sometimes my prayers are not formal. They're sometimes a little messy. They're just like a cry out to God. But um, I don't believe God is looking for perfection in us. I believe that God is looking for us to just be open and honest with Him. And I believe that He looks at the condition of our heart. So, if you don't mind, I want to share a scripture with you. Um, and this scripture is Luke 11:33 through 36. And this highlights the reason I have this podcast. So it says that no one lights a lamp and then hides it or puts it under a basket. Instead, a lamp is placed on a stand where its light can be seen by all who enter the house. Your eye is the lamp that provides light for your body. When your eye is good, your whole body is filled with light. But when it is bad, your body is filled with darkness. Make sure that the light you think you have is not actually darkness. If you are filled with light with no dark corners, then your whole life will be radiant, as though a floodlight were filling you with light. And I wanted to share that because that is why I'm doing this podcast. I'm just trying to be a light in a dark place and encourage some people who need to know how to process going through cancer, because it's very difficult. And we must have our mindset, which is a very powerful tool. Our minds are very powerful when it comes to having a disease. Our mindset can make or break how we feel for the day. So, although we may have challenges, we have to choose whether those challenges are going to be opportunities to do good, or if we're going to allow that to be a setback. So there's lessons to learn along the way. Sometimes we fail along the way. Sometimes we have victories along the way. But we have to understand that inside of us we have an unstoppable strength that carries us. So as long as we're focused on doing good and trying our best to help others, that is going to carry us through. Because I truly believe as long as we try to do good for others, good is going to come back to us. And that's why, y'all know, I have to say it, Romans 8:28, for we know that all things work together for the good for those who love the Lord and who are called according to his purposes. Now, that's one of my favorite scriptures because it talks about the good and the bad and how it works together. So for a cancer patient, initially that's the bad thing. The good thing is what we do with that diagnosis. Unfortunately, some people go through some very horrific and terrible things. The treatments are very tough. The surgeries are excruciating. And it's heartbreaking. It really is. So I hope if you know someone who has cancer, that you are very compassionate towards them. Show them empathy, but be genuine about it, because some people really go through very difficult situations. But I've noticed that the more I do my research and the more uh, stories that I read and listen to, of other people sharing their cancer stories, I find that we are all being ourselves. We're being genuine because all of our stories are different. And it's hard to be that open and that honest and let people really see how difficult, you know, your journey is. But remember, as you do this, it's good for you because you're helping someone, whether you know it or not. So, um, find ways to not wallow in your imperfections or your flaws. We all have them. I choose to be more of a joyful and sometimes funny, positive person. Um, I don't know if I'm funny. Sometimes I like to think I'm funny, and sometimes I'm like, you shouldn't have said that because that really wasn't funny. But I want to talk about um, specifically uh, my type of cancer right now. I want to be serious and let you know because I'm going to share some information with you that is a little bit technical, but when you go to the doctor, you're going to hear some of this information because it's basic cancer information. It's just where you fall in the category. So I want you to be familiar with this. Now, as I've stated before, I have metastatic breast cancer, stage 4, and my cancer has spread to several areas of bone: my ribs, sternum, thoracic spine, lumbar spine, and iliac bone. And so, specifically, my cancer is hormone receptive positive. And this means that the cancer cells have a high number of hormone, either estrogen or progesterone. For me, it's estrogen receptors. And cancer cells with more hormone receptors make copies of themselves. And that is how tumors grow. So that is one of the things I asked the doctors, like, how are tumors formed? And basically, it's just that simple. There are elements in our bodies, such as estrogen or progesterone, that help cancer. It literally feeds the cancer. And these receptors allow the cancer to basically multiply. And they multiply and they multiply. And then they just kind of clump together. And then they start beating up on the good cells and defeating the good cells, and just basically taking over an area. It's like an invasion. So breast cancers, they, as I stated, they are all categorized by a protein called HERS2. Now, if your breast cancer is now this is where the cancer cipher comes in. I'm going to give you a technical term here. If your breast cancer is human epidural growth factor receptor 2 negative, so the acronym is HERS2 negative. You'll hear these terms. It means that cancer cells do not have many HERS2 receptors. Now, don't let it confuse you. You're going to hear these terms. So, That's just a classification. That's just what the doctors see during the testings, and that is what helps them to make determinations. So, another thing that was found about my cancer is I have a PIK3CA mutation. What is that? So, that is a mutation. Um, and according to statistics, around 40% of people with HR positive or HER2 negative breast cancer have one or more mutations in the PIK3CA gene. So, we're going to talk a little bit about that because when you hear these terms and these acronyms, it can be very confusing. So, hormone receptor, the acronym you're going to hear is HR, and typically it's positive. It can be positive or negative. Human epidermal growth factor receptor 2, HERS2, negative breast cancer. These are classifications, and you'll probably hear this throughout your beginnings of your diagnosis. Now, this is a challenging one. The PIK3CA gene is an abnormality that happens to a gene. So I'm going to try to pronounce this word. So it's phosphatidylinositol 3 kinase catalytic subunit alpha. That's why this show is called The Cancer Cipher. PIK3CA gene. Just know that it is a genetic mutation that shows up when your doctor does testing. And if that shows up, that gives the doctor or the oncologist, I'll be more specific, an avenue of what type of cancer you have and potentially how to treat it. So, although these words are big and they sound a little confusing, they really help the doctor to find medications to help us. I'm sorry. Y'all know sometimes I have to drink because I'm doing a lot of talking. And concerning this gene, the PIK3CA gene, it can spread to nearby tissue or lymph nodes or advance to distant areas in your body. And that's what happened to me. And that's what's called metastatic. So, metastatic means that the cancer cells have broken away and they're traveling through our tissues in our body, and our lymphatic system, our lymph nodes. So that's very important to remember. So part of my treatment is hormone therapy. And this therapy tells my body to stop producing estrogen because it's feeding the cancer. So remember, I was telling you just a few moments ago that the cancer feeds on estrogen. So we want to, part of the treatment of slowing the progression is to starve out the cancer. And one of the ways of doing that, and there are many, many types of hormone medications, hormone therapies that help to reduce the production of hormones in our body. Now, the caveat to that is that we actually need those hormones because for me, I'm postmenopausal. So, to reduce hormones in my body almost it's like sending me back through menopause. And I don't know any woman that likes menopause because you start to get the same symptoms. You get the night sweats, you get the body aches, you start to just feel um, your joints can ache. All the symptoms of menopause start to come back on you. But it, although, remember, you got to take the bad with the good. Although these medications are slowing the progression of estrogen production in your body, it also helps to starve out the cancer. So that's some kind of trade off. and it, learning these things is very difficult, but it's so, so important. So now, these mutations lead to an altered protein that can cause cancer cells to grow and spread. We said that. So, according to breast cancer research, up to 70% of breast cancer cases are HR positive and HER2 negative. And again, that is so important because there's so many medications now that are available. Your doctor has many options to decide how to treat us. So, if you remember back on earlier episodes, I was explaining how I went through my first line treatment. Now I'm on my second line treatment. I'm between my second and third because I've had 4 medications that have failed me so far, meaning that I could not tolerate them because the side effects were so severe. So, now, the PIK3CA gene mutation that I was speaking of, it is discovered through a liquid biopsy. So when you initially start to see your oncologist, they're going to do a test like a Guardian 360, which is a liquid biopsy. And basically they just do a blood draw and they send it off to a specialty lab. And then that lab sends back an entire story of your genetic makeup. I know mine showed up to 35 different genes that they looked at to see if those genes were a part of my cancer. And for me, the mutation was the PIK3CA gene mutation. And you might be asking, why is she going into this so much? Because it's important. You have to understand cancer and to understand how to process cancer. You have to understand how it starts and where it came from. We don't just wake up with it one night. The cancer has actually been working in my body for years, and I didn't even know it. I had no idea. And that's a scary thing. That's very scary. So that's why I'm going into detail about this, because I think it's important that we effectively understand, the type of cancer, the stage where we are in our cancers, and understand the treatments that are available in those categories. Okay, so now remember that cancer can spread through the tissue and through the lymph nodes. And remember, I was telling you that breast cancer specifically spreads through the bones, brain, liver, and lungs. Now, according to the American Cancer Society, which is a very good resource, I suggest highly that you read their website. They have determined each stage of breast cancer as either pathologic or clinical. Pathological is determined by tissue removed during surgery. Clinical is based on imaging tests, physical exams, and biopsy results. And identifying the stage of cancer means this: whether the cancer is invasive or non-invasive, the size of the tumor, the number of lymph nodes involved, the cancer's presence in other parts of the body. Those are the key things that your oncologist is looking for. And that's how the oncologist gets answers for the information that they share with us, the cancer patient. Now, the stages of cancer are stage 0, which is considered non-invasive, and stage 0 are highly treatable, which means that it was caught very, very early. Stage 1 cancer is considered invasive but localized, meaning when you went to get your mammogram, they may have found a spot, but it was just a spot, maybe 2 centimeters or less. I'm just hypothetical. For me, mine was over 3 centimeters. I think 3 to 4 centimeters mine was when it was initially found. And stage 1 is also considered highly treatable. Now, stage 2 cancer is invasive and is divided into 2 subcategories. So, stage 2A, the cancer has spread to your lymph nodes and a tumor may be less than 2 centimeters. But on the other hand, the tumor may measure between 2 and 5 centimeters, but does not involve lymph nodes. So, stage 2A. Now, stage 2B, the tumor size is larger, and if the tumor is between 2 and 5 centimeters and has 4 or fewer lymph nodes, or the tumor might be larger than 5 centimeters, but still not have any lymph node spread. So in stage 2, treatments may be strong. However, stage 2 breast cancers are still highly treatable. So remember that stage 2 has 2 subunits. Okay, so it's stage 2, 2A, 2B. Now, stage 3 cancer is considered invasive and advanced, but potentially has not spread to other organs. Stage 3 is divided into subunits as well, but it's broken into 3 subunits: 3A, 3B, and 3C. Now, this is known as the pathological stage based on surgery and the examination of tissue. So, 3A is smaller than 2 centimeters and does include between 4 and 9 lymph nodes affected. Um, the tumor can reach up to 5 centimeters and may have spread to lymph nodes in the breastbone or the underarm area. Okay? And stage 3B, the tumor can be any size, um, potentially have spread to the breastbone or skin and affect up to 9 lymph nodes. So I don't know if you remember, I was telling you about the lymph nodes on a previous podcast. We have lymph nodes like all through our neck area, our collarbone area, the shoulder area, all through the side of our arm, all the way down up under our arm. We have lymph nodes in our chest. Lymph nodes are basically throughout our body. So that's why it's so important that the doctors look at the lymph nodes, because that is where the cancer is going to travel. It's going to travel through the tissue to reach the lymph nodes. Once the cancer reaches the lymph nodes, then it's almost like the war begins. It's almost like a feeding frenzy, and it starts to kill off the good tissue. Now, stage 3C, the cancer may have spread to over 10 lymph nodes, even if no tumor is present. Can you believe that? You could have cancer and not even know it. There's no lump. You do your monthly breast checks. You're checking under your arms. You don't feel any lumps. And there's no tumor. Now, if those lymph nodes have started to swell because of the cancer, you may feel those. If you feel anything that is unusual, you should contact your doctor immediately and make an appointment and explain so you can receive an examination and find out, what's going on. Don't be afraid, because fear is going to hold you back and it's going to keep you from, saving yourself. Basically, you don't want to get to stage 3, because stage 3 is that's a lot of lymph nodes to be involved. Now, the final stage is stage 4, and that's where I am. So I've gone beyond all of those other stages, and I am at stage 4, and I was actually diagnosed at stage 4. According to the statistics, about 6% of women are diagnosed at stage 4. And remember, 1 in 8 women here in the U.S. are diagnosed with cancer. So it's really important to understand this information. Stage 4, at this stage, breast cancer has spread to other parts of the body. This could include the brain, bone, lungs, and liver. And doctors may try a variety of treatment options, but this cancer is no longer curable. Yes. All in full big letters, no baby letters. No longer curable, only treatable. So that's why, again, I am doing this show, because I believe a lot of people don't understand these stages of cancer. They're not even aware of it. I wasn't. I was having my preventative care. I was going to my mammograms. I missed the year of COVID when COVID was really bad. Nobody was receiving mammograms at that point. Everything was shut down. And to receive a diagnosis of something that is not curable, there's no cure for it. They can only treat it. So, you know, I just, sometimes when I say it out loud, it hits me hard. But I keep encouraging myself. And that's why I keep trying to tell people about cancer. Do your preventative care. Do everything you can to educate yourself. I'm sorry. Don't take it for granted, because you just don't know what's going on. I had no idea. I had no idea that I had cancer. And my whole life has changed. But I'm still here. I'm still able to talk to you. I'm still able to share information and educate people. And I'm still able to help somebody not get to stage 4, because stage 4 is incurable. Sometimes I feel like they just have tossed me to the side and, they just like, well, we'll try this, we'll try that. I feel like a guinea pig at this point, because they keep trying all these different medications and I keep getting sick and ending up in the hospital. And I'm tired of that. And I don't want anyone else to go through it. So, we're going to encourage ourselves, because I'm not going to end this session in tears. Every episode I read my Read Me Win. And I think I really need one today. And let's see. So remember, please go back, watch this podcast as many times as you need to understand the different stages of cancer, so you can have intelligent conversations and a thorough understanding, when you see your doctors. Yes, doctors are going to give you a lot of information. I'm telling you, it's overwhelming. But you'll know, you won't be a stranger to it because of the Cancer Cipher. We're breaking the codes. I'm trying to share good information with you that can help you to, understand what type of cancer you may be diagnosed with. So I want to just thank you for being patient with me, and listening to this podcast. I've tried not to get emotional, but you can't help it. You can't help it. But this is what our encouragement is for today. The Lord is a refuge for the oppressed and a stronghold in times of trouble. Psalms 9 9. Is that not perfect? Is that not perfect? Psalms 9 and 9. I have to read it again. The Lord is a refuge for the oppressed, a stronghold in times of trouble. So, this is why I have to have strong faith. This is why I have to continue to do this mission to share information about cancer. This is my story. These are my experiences, but I'm sharing it because I don't want anyone else to be at this point. You might look at me, you might say, oh, she's fine, but you're seeing only what I want you to see. I don't want you to see the other parts of me yet because we haven't gotten there. So just keep your faith. Keep positive things in front of you. Do your own research. Listen to your doctors. Get the information. Prepare yourself. It is a tough journey. It's a horrific journey. But we take one day at a time, one step at a time, and let the good Lord take care of the rest. That's the only reason why I'm still here. So, for today, I just want to thank you. I'm so grateful for you taking time to listen. I'm not going to apologize for my tears. I have a right to cry. But I just want you to know that you all taking time to listen to this podcast means everything to me. So I just want to thank you for your time. And I really hope that going through the stages of breast cancer helps someone get a better understanding of where they may be in their cancer journey. So for now, I will see you on the next visit. And until then, do good. Do something good for someone. Do something good for yourself. Life is precious and it can be taken away from us quickly. So, for now, I just hope you have a blessed day. And thank you again for listening to the Cancer Cipher. Sharon speaks.